You know that I would never wear black silk underwear. What is up, everybody? Station, welcome to PCP Movie Night here on Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm your host for Rockin. I'm your host, Rockin Robbie Bills. And tonight we are kicking off Van Damme December. That's right. Usually in December here on PCP Movie Night, we try to take a dive into Christmas movies, whether it's like traditional Christmas movies, whether it's unconventional reimaginings of a Christmas Carol, or whether it's some gnarly, cool down, good old-fashioned Christmas horror. That's usually what we do in December. But this December, we decided to devote this entire month to the best gift that we've ever gotten. That's right. The best gift that has ever been given to PCP is Jean-Claude Van Damme. So, Jean-Claude Van Damme, last year we did Van Damme November. This year we're doing Van Damme December because he's bigger than Santa Claus. And for PCP, some might say bigger than Jesus. I'm quoting John Lennon there. He said that about PCP back in the 60s. Nobody knew what he was talking about. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. It's all good. Tonight we're talking about Double Impact. That's right. We are doing 3 weeks in a row of work from Jean-Claude Van Damme. It all kicks off tonight with the winner of the PCP Army 2024 Van Damme December movie poll. Y'all picked it. Y'all nominated and picked it. Double Impact. That's what we're talking about tonight. And to join us with this on this extravagant journey, we got Jelani. Journeying Jelani. What's up, my man?
Station. I have words and some notes about this movie, but it's good to be here to talk about it because it's Van Damme, and it's a Van Damme movie I'm going to be on that's not going to hit like 3 million views or whatever we got for Cyborg. So good times.
We're like 615K right now. We're not at 3 million yet, but it will be the first PCP video to 1 million. We are on our way, and I'm very excited for that. And we're going to cover every Van Damme movie. And if my career on YouTube does not at some point end or involve like an hour-long conversation with Van Damme, I will be a failure in everything in my life, right? I feel like that's the direction. I thought the whole point of PCP was for me to get Rob Liefeld on the channel. No, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, we're reaching bigger. I'm sorry, Rob. If you want to, you want to have a conversation, let's see if we can work it around Jean-Claude Van Damme. All right. I love Van Damme so much. You love Van Damme. There's just something about his movies. There's something about him. Speaking of something about him, how about John Castle Philosophers? What is up, my man?
Whoa, let's go, man. Let's talk about some Van Damme. Waiting to have a conversation is who is hotter, Chad or Alex? Let's go.
All right, we'll dive into that a little bit later. Easy answer for me is Chad, but you like the assholes, so you like Alex. Alex seems like a good night, but seems like not really a good catch, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Also, I feel like Chad's more of a bottom, and Alex would be definitely more of a top, and it would just be this weird kind of thing. Speaking of top and bottoms, it's Brooks. What is up, my man? How you doing?
Pretty good.
Best entrance ever.
Yeah, pretty good.
Bringing my usual energy.
Yep. Even at
Van
the
Damme
beginning
style.
Oh, there you go. I was about to be
There
like, even at the cusp of Van Damme December, you can't give us a little extra judge on that, man? Let's do it. All right. So tonight we're talking about Double Impact. So we had 10 movies that were nominated for Van Damme December. And this one was the overwhelming winner. The second place was JCVD. Don't worry, though, John. We're going to take care of that. So there used to be a moment where we kept trying to get Street Fighter in. If you remember, guys, we were trying to get Street Fighter in on a movie review as the winner of a poll. So we would be like, yo, we're doing a poll about video game adaptations. Mortal Kombat 1. We're like, damn it, what can we do? And I was like, oh, a Van Damme poll. That was when it started. We did the Van Damme poll, Bloodsport 1. Right? We've since done Bloodsport twice, and we're about to be doing Street Fighter twice. So we definitely got to talk about Double Impact. I remember this movie. I used to always get this movie confused with Double Team because of the name. Now, I knew that there was a Dennis Rodman movie, and I knew that there was the Twin movie, right? And what's crazy is thinking about it as I'm thinking about this movie over the last week, Van Damme kind of had like this like shtick in the 90s where he would just play two versions of himself in movies. He did it again in Time Cop. He did it in The Replicant. And there's even another movie where he does it. Like,
Yeah.
what? Even Michael J. So he's done it more than Michael J. Fox, is what I'm saying. But no, so I remember when this movie came out, it was a big deal. 1991, directed by Sheldon Lettich. Now, he is the dude who did script work, of course, on what is it? Bloodsport, Rambo 3, Ruskies, Firefight, The Quest, The Order. A lot of work with Jean-Claude Van Damme. But also do not forget that he eventually came in and directed Lionheart. And that's one that I think we really need to cover and unpack on a Van Damme celebration here on PCP, right?
Oh, yeah.
PCVD. Oh, I like the way that sounds, right? So Sheldon Lettich did this, and I'll be honest with y'all. If this movie didn't have Jean-Claude Van Damme, it's all right. It's all right. It's not that great. But because it has Jean-Claude Van Damme in it, it's fucking awesome. It's awesome because this might be, and y'all know us, we love it so much. We love Bloodsport. But this might be the best, like, focus and showcase of Van Damme's skills as a martial artist. Like, that I've been talking about so far. Like, it's not Street Fighter. Bloodsport's got some cool moments, but man, he's kicking some ass in this movie, and I am all here for it. He's playing up this is interesting. It's 1991. They're filming it in 1990. Van Damme already realizes that he's being typecast. He's going to be the action guy. He wants to go outside of that, but he does it in a smart way where this is less of an action showcase than some of the other movies from before. And then like Universal Soldier, we talked about that last year. That was still an action movie, but it was definitely still outside of like the fighting showcase that like Bloodsport or Kickboxer is, right? So here he's already trying to make that distinction. But at the same time, he is kind of parodying himself with the role of Chad in this movie, right? And then Alex is like a different role than what we've seen Van Damme do. So we're getting to see him not just stretch into doing something new, but also making fun and poking fun at the Van Damme that people knew and expected, right? I love this movie. I'm not saying this movie is Citizen Kane or Casablanca or The Godfather or Reanimator, or Reanimator, the Mount Rushmore of American cinema that we all recognize, right? Those four movies. Citizen Kane,
Orson Welles, Jeffrey Combs,
Casablanca, Orson Welles. We got Godfather and Reanimator. That's the Mount Rushmore of American cinema, right? I'm not saying it's that, but man, this movie is badass. This movie is so much fun. It is ridiculous. The music's pretty solid. The way it's shot is actually shot better than things like Bloodsport. And when we get into style and structure, I got a lot of thoughts about that. But I really like this movie. It was a great revisit. I haven't seen this movie since I was a kid in 1991, because my dad, I was talking to Brooks about this earlier at the shop, right? I was like, my stepdad was all about some Van Damme, some Stallone, and some Chuck Norris and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like those movies were like that, and horror is what I was raised on. Sounds like I was raised like a proper 80s kid. Speaking of proper 80s kids, Jelani, why don't you tell us what you think about Double Impact?
Bro, there was kicking in this. There's a lot of kicking.
There's so much kicking.
So much kicking, so many explosions. Kind of kick explosions in a way. Yeah, I've never seen this movie, like, ever. This is the first time, and, like, I was actually kind of blown away at how cheesy it was. It is hot grated cheese. It's Van Damme being the most Van Damme he could be. And now I'm like, Chad's the one that is basically the instructor, right? That gets raised by Frank.
Yes.
And Alex is the gritty orphanage guy that's turned out to be a lord of the underworld or something. But they're brought back together by Frank to fight this evil triad conglomerate in Hong Kong, along with the guy who orders their parents killed. I actually love how cheesy that is. It's like a revenge flick. It is so clean. I have no clue why. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like, I don't know, this cheesy to be so fun. Like, it's a fun movie. It's got fun aspects to it. And like, Jean-Claude Van Damme does not play two different characters. He's the same. I'm sorry. He plays the exact same guy. He's the same guy, but one guy's an asshole. I'm like, all right.
But his hair's slicked back, Jelani.
His hair's slicked back.
Did you notice that?
He's always smoking a cigar.
And he's got a bump.
He's
got a bump on his head, on his forehead. It's like they filmed this later, and he got kicked in the head sometime. And they were like, "We'll just shoot all the Alex scenes differently. Like, we'll do that later." It's like he did the whole movie as Chad, and then he did the rest of the movie as Alex, he just filmed it again as Alex. I don't know. It looks weird. I thought it was funny. It does. When they're both on the screen at the same time, it kind of looks better than Back to the Future Parts 2 and 3. I will give them that. It looks a little better, slightly, just because it looks like it's filmed. They just put one on top of the other, but it looks better than it did in Back to the Future 3. That's all I'm going to say for now, but it's wild. This is a wild-ass movie.
All right, speaking of wild-ass, what about you, Castle? What do you think about Double Impact? And I believe that you may have told me this might be one of your favorite Van Damme movies, if not your favorite.
Yes, this is one of my favorites because we'll talk about later, like, who's in it, except for Jay stole my thunder, that Mrs. Kevin Eastman's wife was in the movie. She was the one on the
Really
floor.
strange.
Yeah.
I
met
did it.
the reason why is I met her in real life. I got an autograph of her, and oh my God, she was gorgeous. Oh, she was so beautiful. Anyway, I liked it because I saw this in the theaters. Because back then I was a huge Van Damme fan. Huge. I always had Schwarzenegger, yes, and Stallone. They were always going back and forth, like who's better, but I was always a Van Damme guy. I don't know why, but when this movie came out, you heard about it, that this was going to be different. And back then, the special effects actually was really good. The way they had them both side to side. So
yeah, this is 1991, right? So Back to the Future Part 2 is the first time we really saw that kind of optical effect.
Yep.
And that's 89. That's like 2 years before, 1 year release before the making of this film, right? So yeah, really, really ahead of its time there.
So it was like really good. And it was nice to see Van Damme doing something different. Like you said, this was the beginning of a trend of his, of doing stuff different. Because he was being not only typecast, but he couldn't get roles because people didn't think he was marketable and everything like that. So, so when he went to go do this different, I guess that people started taking him seriously. You know what I mean? So, but
more seriously. So they're like, instead of casting you as the guy who is the martial artist, we're going to cast you as the detective who's depressed and hates his life. And or we're going to cast you as the hockey player, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
or the Cajun jail, or a homeless guy. But, and also there's other people, like I said, there's other people in this movie that I wanted to, that I'll talk about later, but the way it was shot, one of my favorite karate movies, obviously, is Enter the Dragon. And this has a lot of some similarities of music, how it was made. But, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, we wouldn't have Van Damme without Enter the Dragon. Because Bloodsport's pretty much a direct ripoff because a guy named Frank Dukes decided to concoct a fiction about his life based on the movie Enter the Dragon.
Allegedly. That's all legend.
And no, even like some of the opening shots of Hong Kong and some elements of the music score, like really feel very Enter the Dragon.
Bolo's in all these movies too.
And Bolo's in all three of these movies.
In this movie.
That's right.
That guy is so fucking badass. In fact, Jean-Claude Van Damme is not the hottest dude in this fucking movie, which is crazy. Speaking of the hottest dude on the panel, Brooks, why don't you tell us what you thought about Double Impact?
Well, it's about time you admitted the obvious truth that we all knew.
It's only since you last cut your hair, dude. Yeah, this might be Brooks's last haircut, everybody. So we really need to just embrace this. Let's love it.
Yeah, everybody gets to watch it grow back in real time. It should be interesting. This movie, like, I like this movie, but it's very all right. I feel like it's a very predictable action movie. Like, nothing that happened in it surprised me. And a lot of the times I was confused as to like what was going on. It's like the story is like very like unimportant to the movie. And like Jean-Claude carries this movie on his heavily muscled back, I think. Like you said, like if this movie didn't have Jean-Claude in it, nobody would give a shit about it. And as to like the Seagal versus Van Damme thing, like that's unfair, dude. Like Steven Seagal is like the bottom of the action star pile. Like it's not even a contest, dude.
No,
he's below David Arquette.
It's like me saying, "Oh, Bruce Lee versus Steven Seagal, who would win?" It's like, duh. Like we all know.
Well, and that's one of the big differences. John, you were talking about. Yeah, I was more of a Van Damme guy. I liked Stallone and Schwarzenegger, but there was something different about Van Damme. The biggest difference to me is the skill in martial arts. That's not something.
I think Van Damme is like, he does a thing that Schwarzenegger was good at. Is that he's able to make fun of himself, He's able to like, not take himself too seriously and be a little goofy sometimes.
And he's doing it pretty early on in his career, in this film in particular, right? Yeah. He's doing it early on. He continues to do it. He actually explores his legacy as a action star better than others have in the movie JCVD, which we will cover next year for 2025. It might be the accent too, but they all have accents. But what I'm saying is Arnold and Sly, they're not martial artists. They're big dudes, right? And y'all have heard me on this channel, especially like during the Stop or My Mom Will Shoot fucking video movie review we did. But I was on and on about Stallone's ass. Van Damme is PCP's ass, right? You know what I'm saying?
Van Damme is like his own individual creature.
Yes, exactly. So let's dive into it. What are the performances that really stand out in this movie? Jelani, kick us off.
Man,
what's up, Jeff?
I'm gonna say, strangely, my favorite character is Frank. He always plays like an 80s villain in everything he's ever done.
Come on, Jeffrey Lewis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything he's ever done has been like, he is the villain. He just has the villain face. He just got that. He's at every dude that's in everything. And like, in this movie, I was shocked. I was like, wow, he's got range. He's actually playing a good guy. And they didn't kill him. I was so impressed.
Let me tell y'all something. Brooks earlier was talking to me, and Brooks goes, I actually regret that they didn't kill the mentor in this movie. I really think they should have. I was like, God damn, Brooks.
Damn. I really wanted him alive. I was just proud. I was so happy that he was alive. And he made it in the movie. He sat up there and like raised Chad with karate, because you can tell like Alex didn't know like as many moves as Chad did. Chad was just the one that had his shirt off and was doing the stuff with the ladies and all the other stuff, and Alex is just wearing a black shirt. He's got a black shirt on.
Alex more of a street brawler than a martial artist.
Yeah.
He's more like in his fist and weapons. And I'm going to tell y'all something, man. There is nothing cooler in a movie than in the middle of a gunfight when that motherfucker just takes a random fucking swig of somebody's drink and then just crushes the fucking glass in his hand for no fucking reason.
Is that testosterone?
He's got that adrenaline going.
I've shared drinks with Castle down there, and John, you do the same thing. I don't know if you remember, but you do the same thing. You just jump up on that table, And we're all like, whoa, we'll pay the bill real quick. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
He learned that from the Spanish-American War. Isn't that where you went? Like, isn't that where you stayed? Like at that weird Mexican cantina?
Can you mute this motherfucker, please?
What are we doing? You making an old joke on Julio, bro? You're like 4 years younger than him, man. Calm down.
It's your younger days. It was your younger days, man.
Yeah. You're lucky I love you, man.
I love you too.
Don't worry, Delaney remembers serving in the Korean War, man. So, he's not too far behind you.
A lot of trim.
He's like, did I serve in the Korean War? Did I just watch a lot of MASH when I was a kid?
I watched a lot of MASH.
Anyway, yeah, Frank is a great character in the movie. Actually, probably one of the better characters and performances in the film, to be honest with you. Right? Yeah. Really good. And he's great in everything he's in, including Christopher McQuarrie's Way of the Gun. So there you go.
I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, great movie.
I'm going to forget that movie.
All right, Spilio, what about you? What's a performance you want to highlight? And everybody remember, with Van Damme, technically we got 2. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
go for it.
Yeah.
My favorite,
different characters.
My favorite, and what made the movie, was one person, Cara, Miss Corey Everson. I had a crush on her a long time, because at that time I was drawing, and I bought a lot of muscle fitness books to draw to, and and obviously she was Mrs. Olympia at that time,
6 times, I think. Miss Olympia, yeah, right,
6
yeah.
times. She's the only female, and I just thought that she was just so hot, and the outfits and that she was wearing, and that she just like sex, girl, boy, chair, it doesn't matter. So,
dude, you wouldn't have Famke Janssen in GoldenEye without this character, right?
Really?
Think about it, like that. The similarities, I think, between those 2 characters. She's badass, and she is so hot, dude. Like, she's so fucking muscly and just still like very like feminine at the same time. And there are moments where you're like, that titty is just a muscle, but like smother me in that and those thighs all night. That's a way to go, bro. If you get killed by her in a movie, you're good. Right?
I wanted to be Van Damme in that one scene when she came down with the legs.
Yep.
That was my
and they do that scene in GoldenEye. You see what I'm saying?
They
like,
do.
Oh yeah.
They do.
What I like about her, you just said it. I mean, she had a small part. I'm kidding, but I really enjoyed seeing her. Other than at that time, bodybuilding. But I was just a little upset because I actually just found this out recently. For doing this, is that I was really upset the way she died. Right, that fight scene was like, and I just found out is that what happened was they ran out of money and ran out of time. So because it was supposed to be a lot longer fight, and they had to cut it short because of that. So, but I really liked her because you said it. She was still built. I mean, she was built, but she still had a beautiful, sexy presence. I know there's some girls that are too much, but I mean, if you like it, you like it. But so I enjoyed that, especially her. Remember the running across. She jumped across that thing.
She leaps over that shit, right? Yeah. Like it's like somebody on a motorbike maybe that falls over or something. Yeah. She leaps over it, and then the next dude, he gets over it, but not quite the same way. And then the next dude just runs around it. If you notice, it cracks me up, man.
So yeah, that's my favorite.
Oh, that's a great pick. Great pick. What about you, Jelaine? Brooks, what about you? What is the performance you want to highlight?
Well, like when I first like started this movie up and I saw in the credits Bolo Young's name, I'll admit I clapped my hands and squealed like a little child who just had Sesame Street turned on and just had his bowl of sugar cereal set in front of him. I was so excited. And like Bolo is great in everything he does. And he basically does the same thing in just about everything. He's the fucking extremely stoic, like top henchman who just fucking wrecks every fucking body.
And we've never heard his real voice.
Bolo just wrecking motherfuckers.
And we've never heard his real voice because apparently his real voice was like kind of not threatening. Could you imagine? Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna beat
Bolo
you
does
up.
not need words. Bolo communicates through violence.
he's like the Undertaker in Suburban Commando.
Yes.
Where he's super threatening until he speaks. So they had to dub him. But no, Bolo Young is amazing. Dude, I think he's amazing in Enter the Dragon. He's super amazing in Bloodsport. He's just as good in this one, man. Just as fucking good. I wish we had more. I wish we had more Van Damme and Young movies, man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just love that scene at the end where he was like,
Yeah.
he didn't say a word. Didn't say a word.
Yeah, once Bolo and the female, the badass lady died, like my interest in the movie kind of waned a little bit, to be honest. I kind of started tuning out a little bit after she was gone. I was like, I still got Jean-Claude, but like I feel like they've kind of jumped the shark already with him. But yeah, Bolo's the best.
Happy birthday, Kenneth.
Yeah.
All right.
Happy birthday, brother.
For me, man, I was really expecting everything to be taken, but I will go ahead and say this, man. I think that Jean-Claude Van Damme is fantastic in this film. I really do. He's probably at some of the best physical state he's been in. He is super hot. Like,
yes,
he is super hot. His ass could break fucking
walnuts.
Concrete. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just like, it is insane. And they really, me and Brooks were talking about this, but the opening split scene where they're like, let's just get it over with and be the most gratuitous with it that we ever can be, dude. It is amazing. I love it. I love, though, that I actually was charmed by him playing Alex in this movie because I was like, oh, it's so cute. Van Damme's trying so hard to be an actor right now. And I'm like here for it. Like, he does kind of hone those skills a little bit as time goes on. He's not an actor, and he doesn't have a lot of experience in this time of his career, right? I mean, he's had a few successes, but only really because of his involvement. Like, Bloodsport would have been a mess at first without his input on the re-edit of the film, right? Yeah. So I think when we talk about all these action stars, and it's always Sly and Chuck and Arnold and whatnot, nowadays it's like what, Jason Statham, Vin Diesel. That dude somehow turned himself into an action star. That's crazy. Dwayne Johnson. I'm just naming people in the Fast and Furious franchise, apparently.
Ludacris.
Yeah, Ludacris. Tyrese. Michelle Rodriguez.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Like, where was I? And now I'm confused about what I was even talking about, y'all. Now I've lost it.
Van Damme acting.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying. You're right. No, we're not there yet. But Damien, you're right. Robbie needs a Van Damme ass for Christmas. If somebody got me like
a perfect mold.
No, you know those wall punchers, those things that look like they're coming out of the wall of just Van Damme's ass in the splits. Bruh, I would be all here for that. That would be amazing.
The one from this movie.
I'd put it right above the TV. Like, y'all know where my Yankee Stadium thing is? I would like raise that up and just put the Van Damme split ass right there, dude. Everybody's looking at Van Damme ass as well when we're watching the movie. No, but I think Van Damme deserves more credit for being such an action star. Like, I know a lot of us he's not quite on Steven Seagal level of ridicule, but he's not as respected enough, I think, nowadays. And I think that this movie is a great example of why. And I'm surprised that Jelani hasn't mentioned it yet. I don't even know who plays the love interest in this movie. Is that Alana Shaw? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like she's got nice tams, but they're both.
Oh, she had nice little boobies.
Yeah, and here's another conversation me and Brooks were having earlier. I looked at him and I was like, why in the 80s, in the 90s, did people not give a shit about ass? Like,
no, they have no ass. She got no ass to speak.
Well, you got the titties, you can make it.
Well, she got bolt-ons, man. They're
nice boobies.
So initially for that role, the producer or the director, I think, thought that it would make sense if Alex had an Asian girlfriend being raised in Hong Kong. Right. And I love the idea that we haven't even described this movie. Like you're watching this because you already know this movie, right? But like I love that twin brothers separated at birth because of tragedy, one raised in Paris, one raised as an orphan on the streets of Hong Kong. They both have the same accent.
The same accent. I said it. They play the same characters.
They like, as far as that goes,
Frank had to like explain he trained him in France. He was like, I raised you in France.
Yeah.
And then the other guy's been in Hong Kong all this time and doesn't speak Chinese. So I'm so confused.
So the director thought it would make sense if Alex had an Asian girlfriend, and they even had screen tested. Took me 3 different attempts to get that word right. They screen tested Tia Carrere. Right?
Ooh, Tia Carrere?
Yeah, Tia Carrere. Like, imagine her in this film. That would have been great. But Van Damme insisted that Alex needed a blonde for his girlfriend.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the style and structure, though. The structure of the movie's fine. I do think it runs a little long. There's some things that could be trimmed up. The movie was already trimmed up because of test screenings. They thought the movie ran long, so they tightened up a lot of stuff, including exposition and talkie scenes. And it still kind of runs a little bit long in parts. It's mostly because there's a lot of build-up with certain characters, like the main woman henchman, and then Bolo Young, right? What's her name again, John?
Kara.
Yes, Kara. So like there's a lot of build-up and then a lot of like fallout real quick, right? There's not a lot of like. The only time in this movie where you feel like the villains give an actual threat is when Bolo first beats the shit out of Chad. And you're just like, how did this dude survive? He literally like banged his head on that fucking storage unit like 20 times in a fucking row. He whipped his ass, dude. That dude should be in the hospital, man. Yeah. Like that is crazy, right? So it's not the best written script. It doesn't have a lot of depth to it. Yeah, there's a lot of potential that is left on the table, right? Like the idea of these two brothers actually learning to get along, that's not really elevated or really fully nuancedly realized in this script, you know? It's got faults there. And with its structure, it's got some faults because it loses its pacing just a little bit here and there. But one thing it really does have is style. The action sequences are amazing. The fighting from Jean-Claude Van Damme and the others is impeccable, and the editing of it is freaking top-notch. There's a lot of slow-mo stuff going on, but it really does elevate what Jean-Claude is able to do physically as a fighter on screen cinematically, right?
Would you say this movie is elevated action?
It is elevated action. But nowadays, we would say something like, I don't know, what's elevated action nowadays? Drive or John Wick or some shit. Like, this is elevated action. They've been doing this shit the whole time. So the cinematography is from Richard Howard Klein. This dude kills it in this movie. It is beautiful. It is so masterfully shot. And there are some of those moments where you got these like red and blue and purple and green lights, and the way that light blankets the screen, but it doesn't feel like too stylish, like even something like John Wick. We talk about John Wick cinematography, the way that looks and how it's influenced a lot of modern action films. They're doing that in Double Impact. They're doing that. They're doing that look. It's like, I'm not saying the cinematographer is a fan of Dario Argento, but it feels like maybe he is. Even the camera movement really works for me. What do you think about the style and structure, Jelani?
The pacing is a little wonky. I will say that. There's not too much to the story for me to like get all into it. But yeah, you're right. It's shot beautifully. The fight scenes are great. I love the fight scene with Chad and Bolo. That is still my favorite fight. I mean, I just love how like Van Damme kicks him in the face like 5 different ways, but it's like 3 or 4 different angles. I'm like, oh man, shut up and
kick like a Terminator in this movie.
Yeah, he keeps coming until he gets electrocuted, which kind of sucks. I was like, and starts the explosion, so he dies like a whole bunch of times. It's nice.
Character's not dead. They should have made a sequel where Bolo getting up.
He gets up. And he's got a little burn mark on his arm.
Should have done at an end credit scene.
Or a burn on the other side of the face, so he's got scars on both sides. And then he's like, yeah, I love that. That'd have been nice. But yeah, he had to get electrocuted, whatever. But like I said, the shots with both Jean-Claude Van Damme's in the same scene, they look good. I mean, it doesn't look like they superimposed him onto himself in any spots that I saw. I really wish they fought more, like him and his body double, done a lot more fighting. And Alex does hit that girl. He hits his girl a little too.
Oh, yeah.
But his reaction to that, though, like, I'm not saying it justifies it, but I like the little bit of slight subtlety he's trying to put in there. Like when he like feels like, oh fuck, I went too far. Right after his like, I don't know what, hour and a half long battle of fucking rage, thinking that his brother's having sex with this woman, man.
And he's just picturing it in his head and drinking cognac.
And I love the goddamn sex scene because it's like a totally 1991 sex scene where like when you're a kid watching these movies, you really think sex is just picking someone up and throwing them around like this. Like if you know anything about fucking, they ain't fucking in that scene. They're like dancing or some shit. Like that's like, what are you doing?
My back hurt just watching it.
Just watching it. Yeah, you're right. It is funny. It is actually quite hilarious. But those scenes are great too because I love the colors. The color in that whole sex scene is like
exactly.
It's top notch crazy. Yeah, they're just it's a funny movie. I laughed in some parts of this. I don't know what it is, but yeah, stylishly it's Hong Kong. You get a Rush Hour 2 out of it at least.
Oh yeah, and it's like co-produced by a Hong Kong producer, right? And that's why they filmed a lot there. They like actually changed it because it's based on the Corsican brothers, right? It's basically that idea, but changed a little bit, right? So and so there's a lot of stuff filmed there. What's interesting is that so everything they wanted to get done got done, but they filmed like this gun shootout, and nobody got a permit for that shit or whatever. And people called the police and the police had to show up. So then at a certain point they were like, all right, shooting in Hong Kong's great. And these people are great, but we need to go film the rest of this movie in LA because we're kind of losing control. We feel like, so they did have to deal with that.
But there was one more thing. I thought this was funny as hell. The death in Lethal Weapon 2 is used in this movie. I don't know which one came first, where the storage tanker falls on the guy.
Lethal Weapon 2, because that's 89.
That was Lethal Weapon 2. That was the South African dude that got killed. And I was like, wait a minute, did they steal that? Or did that happen? I can't remember. When was 2? Lethal Weapon 2.
89. And what's crazy is that dude, the main white dude villain in this movie is in Lethal Weapon 3.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wait, what does he do in 3?
I don't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But they fuck you with the insurance. They fuck you at the subway menu.
Yep. Every time.
All right. Speaking of fucking you at the subway, what about you, Castle? What do you think about the style and structure?
A sandwich.
Damn it! I need money. The structure, I agree with all of you. I love the movie. Is it great? No. But it's just a fun movie. I do believe there is a lot of holes in it, like the way Frank told Chad that he's got a brother was like kind of stupid. He could have just said, "Hey, you got a brother," but no, he said, "Hey, we got a new job out there," and he wouldn't tell him even when Danielle was hitting on him.
And he's literally cock blocking the dude, man.
Yeah,
he's like sitting there teaching yoga class or whatever. He's got like ass all up in his fucking hands. He's showing off for the ladies, He's like, I'm a little bit busy right now.
Yeah. And you guys have to, go back and watch this, okay? In the beginning scene when the mother and father dies, right, and they have the shootout. Go look. That freaking car must have had a regenerated battery because every time they shot a headlight out, the next scene, it was back on. and on the other one, it was back on. And it was on. It was like back and forth. You're like,
good editing.
Hell? Yeah, you
That's
guys
good.
got to see it. And the other thing was, I noticed on this rewatch, you guys have to go. You remember when Chad and Danielle was in the room where Kara shot the fish tank, you know, and they tried to escape in the back, and they had that secret room that, you know, shelf that they went out, and he kicked that door open. Next time, look at it, because on the left-hand side, you could see they were in a studio. It's all, they forgot to put a cart, a drape in front of it.
Oh shit! There's like people walking down the street in Roman centurion gear and shit.
Well,
in the Blazing Saddles,
you can see it's like she's just like Blazing Saddles. She's just all these fucking people.
You gotta watch it again.
Yes.
I noticed another thing in the beginning when they were doing the ceremony and everything. Actually, in the beginning of the movie, the camera, you know, goes over the people in the seats. There's one woman like this.
Wow.
You watch this movie very closely, and not just for Van Damme's ass, man. And I'm proud of you, Spilio. Very proud of you.
Yeah, I take things, you know, I go full gorilla, man. Come on. No,
Cocaine!
Cocaine! Why, you got some?
I don't know, man, but these new shirts you've been wearing make me think that you do. What about you, Brooks? Speaking of not having cocaine, what do you think about the style and structure of the film? By the way, we here at PCP are not trying to insinuate in any kind of way. Any member here does cocaine in any kind of way. Drugs are bad. You shouldn't do them.
No.
I would never do that.
Nope.
But Brooks, what do you think about the style and structure of this movie, man? You know what I'm saying? What do you think?
Well, the style is like...
You're welcome, Fable.
It is 80s action movie. Like, it feels like... It seems like a very basic bitch kind of 80s action movie in a lot of ways, like the plot and everything. But, you know, it has that Van Damme charm, I think, you know, that adds to it. And the fact that, you know, you get two Van Dammes for the price of one kind of like makes it a little more interesting.
Oh.
And you know, Bolo and the old chick who's badass. Like, I think the biggest mistake this movie made is they killed those two villains off too early. I would have saved it for the end, and I would have had them like both her and Bolo facing off against Chaz.
Bro, because they
Alex
fucked it up.
Because
time. What are the end fights? The end fights are with two fucking rich dudes.
Yeah. The main villain of this movie sucks. I don't even give a shit if he like a I don't give a fuck about that dude. Like the real villains.
Like you should have a shit like those two dudes, right? Like the I guess the triad gangster and then the British fucking investor. Both of them die, and it's up to Bolo and Kara.
Yeah, they gotta avenge their
just
honor.
Out of honor to finish this fight. You know what I'm saying?
And they all take their shirts off.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Everybody great. And then Van Damme beats them all and he walks away, and it's like that Mike Tyson moment in the Jake Paul fight where he walks away and he's wearing his jock strap and his ass is just Any other thoughts, Brooks?
We should have written this movie, dude.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, we should have. Any other thoughts, Brooks?
Like structure wise, like I don't think it's very structurally sound. Like it feels like it's just like, you know, we got to get from one action piece to the next pretty much most of the time. Like I didn't know what was going on through most of the movie. And like, you know, I didn't really care. I mean, I was getting my action. I was getting my Van Damme, you know, action scenes. But, you know, I think they could have, like, you know, given us a little better story. Like it could have used a little work, I guess.
Yeah, they could have workshopped it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
100%. All right.
Real quick, I forgot to mention that fight scene, the guy with the cowboy boots. The one that he could. It was
when he's like they're in the shadows and the fuck.
Come
dude,
on.
That's so great, man.
Okay, I forgot to mention that. We should, because that was a great scene.
Yeah.
Also, when he's teaching yoga and he has to go do the karate class and that guy's giving him shit and he just kicks him real quick. You mentioned it earlier, somebody, and that is Michael Keaton's stunt double from the first Batman movie.
He looked like Bob.
So there's a lot of stunt action love. In fact, the father at the very beginning of the movie is like a famous stunt coordinator and stunt man. His brother's a famous stunt man who was like the second unit director or some shit like that in this movie. So a lot of love for that. All right, the music. The music is done by Arthur Kimple. He's most famous for the Arrival, the Charlie Sheen one in the 90s, right?
R.I.P.
Yeah, and Cry in the Wild from 1990. But for me, I remember him for Graduation Day, which is a Linnea Quigley staple for me as far as 80s slashers go. So Graduation Day is a cool movie. Decent enough score. It's all right. It gets the job done. It's very similar to the Predator score by Alan Silvestri. I believe Oliver Harper even kind of posited the idea that maybe they were using the Predator score as a temp track during filming and editing and just kind of had him replicate some stuff because we know that happens in film. I think the music is all right. It's better than most from this era in this genre. I will tell you that. I think it's very capable. It's got some moments that really work, especially when it's really aping Enter the Dragon. It's just it's doing a lot of mimicking. But the thing is this, when we're talking about Jean-Claude Van Damme movies and we're talking about the score, I will always compare it to Bloodsport, which is like the greatest score of all time. So it's always going to pale in comparison for that. So the music is What do you think, Jelani?
Yeah, there's no fight to survive in this. So it's kind of basic. I'm gonna use.
They do have that Jim song in there. I don't know if it's the one that plays at the end. It's all right. It's good for what it is, right? Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, it's fine.
It is no Stan Bush though, man. You're right.
Yeah.
You are.
Fight to survive, bro. You don't got it. This Bloodsport, man. God, can we do another
Every
review?
time we watch any Van Damme movie, it makes me want to rewatch Bloodsport.
I just want to rewatch Bloodsport now. It's so good, and like, it's fun. But it's so basic. It's just there for me. I'm okay with it. Oh yeah. Thank you, Jelani. It is the truth. It is Fight to Survive. It needs that. I think this movie needs that. It needs some sort of. Yeah, it does need a Stan Bush soundtrack. I totally would go with the score for that. If he would even score it and let him work with it.
Well, Stan Bush just did the 2 songs in Bloodsport. He didn't do the score, right? That was Paul Wertzog or something like that, right?
Where it's just like undertones of awesome.
We do need a Stan Bush song in this one, though. We really do. Yeah, we need Van Damme. We need more movies that involve Van Damme, Bolo Young, and Stan Bush.
All the time. All the time. Circle them all. But
every movie should have to have all 3 of those things.
Yes.
Like regardless of what kind of movie it is.
Whatever it is.
Romantic comedy, all of a sudden Jean-Claude and Bolo are just fighting in the background.
And Stan Bush is like, I'll fight to love.
Oh, God. But yeah, I'm a fan. Super fan of this.
Yeah.
As far as Bloodsport, we need to watch Bloodsport again. There.
Yeah, we do. We've already reviewed it twice, but we may do it again. Who knows, man? Like, we never did it with Spilio.
It needs to be like.
Sounds like we should do it again, y'all. Let's go. Bonus Patreon exclusive or some shit like that. Who knows? We should do a movie commentary. We should watch the movie.
Yes.
Yes. We should do a live watch along here on YouTube. Is what we should do.
That would be.
Hey, throw one out in the chat right now if you want to see a live watch along with the 4 of us on Bloodsport. Throw a 2 out if you want to see a live watch along of the Cats.
Never.
Oh, dude.
I'll never watch that piece of shit again.
I shouldn't have said that. Now some smart asses are going to start throwing 2s out.
Two.
Fucked up.
What about you, John? What do you think about the music in the film?
See, I think I listen to the music more than a normal person because I really enjoyed this because there was a lot of orchestra in this that made the movie more grand. If you know, I know that sounds funny. It's a Van Damme movie, and the drum work in the movie too really made an impact on some of the scenes. Yes, I think what you said 91, right? So I think the synthesizer sound was starting to wane at this time, because I know 80s is famous for synthesizer work. You know, there was
synthesizer work, right? But a lot of people used it just to do it cheaply, right?
Yes. Yeah. You know, I really enjoyed the soundtrack. No, yeah. Is it great? Again, like the movie? No. But it actually elevated the movie a little bit to make it not your typical cheesy martial arts movie. It actually gave it a little bit more oomph in a lot of the scenes. So
this was scored way better than a Cannon film for the most part.
Yes. Yeah.
Outside of Bloodsport.
Yeah, because Cannon lost.
Couldn't say that,
movie, right? Cannon lost this movie.
Yeah, they did.
They were an idiot. Thank goodness. I mean, it's a long story. I don't want to take up the time, but they were idiot and then went to someplace else. And if I remember right, shut up, Jelani. I think it made it like around 80 million in the theater, and you know, for
the movie was a big hit. Yeah, it was a big hit for the time.
It was huge and everything like that. So I enjoyed the music. It added to it, and you could actually really tell, which I like about movies. Like, you could tell this was an late 80s, 90s movie from the music, not because of the movie, but because of the music.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it.
So domestically, it made 30 mil off a 15 mil budget, but like internationally, and those numbers are hard to put together because they kind of like marketed it independently out and internationally, but they are saying like it was like around 70 to 80 million dollars, which is at the time, especially for this kind of movie, for this budget, was kind of a big deal, right?
Oh yeah, you would normally see maybe 20, 30, 40 million, for this type of movie. So this one, I don't know. Look, we all said Bloodsport was his number one movie, but I think this movie is what really got people's attention because people were talking about him.
Well, this was the first one where people started going to the theaters, right? Because they saw Bloodsport on VHS.
Yes. Yeah.
And Van Damme was exploding. Kickboxer was out, Bloodsport was out. So like, this was the movie, I guess, that really, like, once people knew who Van Damme was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it didn't it hurt. Even that one scene that I love, the slow-mo of him going like this with the gun, and all you see is every ripple of his muscle. And it was a slow-mo. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. He was the best.
Yo, what's up, Cliff? Good to see you here. JCVD was pretty hot at the time of this movie, but he's also, I still think, pretty decent looking today.
He's 63 years old and still looks great.
He still looks great. His hair looks more like Alex though nowadays, but I'm here for some JCVD. We're gonna talk about that.
He's not making that many more movies. He's just doing, because Stallone. That's the one thing I don't get. Stallone and Schwarzenegger sort of are busy. Especially
it's because there's no respect on Van Damme, man. For some reason, he gets tossed out of that conversation, and a lot of people would put him in a conversation with Steven Seagal, and that's a massive disservice to the talent.
Did you ever see this TV show on Prime?
Who?
It was Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
Oh no, I never saw that.
Maybe
I'm the reason why.
You're the reason why.
I am the reason why. But we're supposed to be talking about the music right now.
Sorry.
So Brooks, what do you think about the music in the film?
It's all right. It was very basic. The thing I think that would have really.
You wanted to say it's basic bitch fucking action movie music? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. I mean, it is. But I think what could have made it better is they need a little more saxophone, make it a little more Lethal Weapon sounding.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Especially during that sex scene. And what's crazy is I appreciate, John, what you were saying, how they went orchestral to not make it sound cheap, and like if they didn't have the budget really to do a good synthesis. I don't know, but there's a part of me that thinks if there was a synthesizer score in this, I would love it even more, man. To be honest, y'all know me. I just love the synth scores, man.
Yeah, I could see a good synth score on this movie.
Yes, Cliff. Exactly. Watch it on Amazon. You have to. It's awesome.
All right. It's time to unpack the theme of the movie. This movie is obviously, through this conversation, very rich on meaning, depth, nuance, subtext, and theme. So, Jelani, what's this movie speaking to you?
When you find out you have a long lost brother, don't immediately check out his underwear. He's like, "See, wears silk underwear." What?
He does drop the F-bomb a couple times too.
Yeah, they called him the F slur.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Yeah.
Like,
I didn't mind it, but I can only halfway really speak on that. But so like I didn't mind it as much, but because it was really funny to hear him say it, because it was the most unconvincing usage of that word I heard.
Exactly. That's dumb. Yeah, he was going with it. He just wanted to play to win for some reason. And it's the 90s. It was just freely given. So
Cliff, oh my God.
He tried it. It failed.
He only says it twice.
Yeah.
In the movie.
But it's fact he says it. Anyway. But it's still funny. I wanna there's not much to this movie. I mean, revenge is a dish best served cold. And you have to be as cold-blooded as the people that took out your parents. So you don't have to be, because at the end, it seems cutesy, but at the end, Alex looks at Chad, and Chad just holds his side and goes,
best ending of a fucking movie. They pulled the goddamn Charles in Charge ending, man, with the freeze frame. And
yeah.
Shit. Like, what are they doing?
What have you done?
All right, not to keep harping on me and Brooks when we were hanging out at the shop earlier today, but like, what was the first thing I showed you, Brooks? You walked in.
He's watching the end scene.
I was like, this is the best part of the movie, and I showed the scene.
Yeah.
Because I watched it again while I was at work today. So I watched it last night. I watched it again today just to make sure. Like, I had so much fun last night watching it. I wanted to watch it or slightly pay attention while I was doing FOC orders. But yeah. All right. What about you, Spilia? What's this movie speaking to you, my man?
That people are fucking greedy. Done. Mic drop. They would kill people for it. Parents, children, everything to keep the money.
And
I don't
also,
know why he killed that guy.
Also, use as a guise a public service like building that bridge.
Yeah.
As a way just to make money, right?
Exactly.
So it's also pointing out the corporate government issues that we're still fucking not learning from today.
At all. Not even a little bit.
And also, brotherly love will outlast everything.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Nicely put. Both of y'all got it. Like, here's the thing. This movie may not be deep. It just makes this part easier, y'all. What about you, Brooks? What do you think this movie's speaking to you?
I think this movie, it tries to touch on kind of like what makes a family. Like, these two guys, they're twin brothers, but they don't really know each other. Like, they haven't met each other until they're like adults who have taken like completely different life paths and have completely different personalities. And like, I thought it was kind of funny, the idea of them showing them the picture of the parents and with a couple of babies. He's like, "Oh, that's me. That's me. I'm that baby." Like, what? How do you know, dude? Maybe Frank is just fucking with you.
This could be the longest con in Frank's life, right?
Frank's just like, those idiots. But yeah, it's like, it feels like, Chaz and Alex, like they kind of like speed run becoming a family by going through this like weird fucking going on this vengeance trail against these guys who like killed their parents. And like, it's very like one of the things that very confusing me too is like, why did they recruit these two guys? Like, one's just like this like Johnny Cage type dingus guy who's completely fucking clueless but is a good fighter. And the other one's like this like fucking crime guy who's also kind of a good fighter. But like, why these guys? Like, I don't know. But it is like,
you brought more guys in. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it feels like and Alex has to learn to trust his brother. Like the whole scene where like, because which I think was like a thing I wish they hadn't done, was that they separated them throughout most of the middle of the movie, and they don't actually come back together until the end.
They didn't have the budget for that, Brooks.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But yeah, like Alex has to learn, like, that to trust his brother is not going to like try and make a move on his girl while he's away. And he needs to learn to trust his girl too, like.
Oh yeah. Oh,
like, come on, bro.
Wait,
like you were talking on the phone, you told her you loved her, but then you like fucking, she's out of your sight for like, a few hours, and you're already like, oh, she's obviously cheating on me.
He's like losing his fucking mind too, dude. He's just drinking a fucking bottle of bourbon straight and spitting it all over the fucking place.
He's rubbing her hands all over her body.
Yeah.
He's tossing her here. He's tossing her there.
He's tossing her everywhere. Oh, yeah.
But you guys got to think that Danielle had a fantasy with those two brothers. It had to happen.
Y'all know about the deleted scene from the end? There's a deleted scene where they're at the plane, right? And Frank and Chad are there, I believe. I don't know if the other two are. And there's the flight attendant is basically Danielle, but with the brunette, like she's a brunette. And the idea is that, oh, she has a twin she doesn't know about. So now Chad can get some with
that too.
Well, she's got short brunette hair.
And then they really missed the opportunity to not do a double mint gum commercial in tie-in with this movie, right?
Yes.
Could have had Double Impact 2, Danielle on the rise. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? They did want to make a Double Impact 2, but it never got off the ground because of rights issues and the ambition of the script. Which I do think the first movie is a little bit more ambitious than its budget and its talent, but it is saying something. Y'all are all right there. It's about greed. It's about the corporate greed. It's about the government's, willing nature and helping hand and greed and organized crime and shit like that, right? It is about like the idea of family. It is about, what did you say, Jelani? You said Revenge. It's a revenge tale. It's a very simple revenge tale, right?
Sure.
And the only thing I'll add to that, because this isn't a super deep movie, but the message to me is nurture versus nature, right? And how Alex and Chad, they should be the same. I mean, like Jay said, they literally have the same physical build, the same fighting prowess, and the same accent, even though they were raised on opposite ends of the earth, right? But they have this connection, but there is this difference between them, right? And Alex is raised in an orphanage on the streets of Hong Kong as like a white kid. Nobody's there, right? And then Chad is raised by Frank in Paris, probably given a lot of pamperness. Like he's probably pampering him. He's probably really taking care of him and all that kind of shit. And that's why we get the difference in the personalities. Right? But there is still something that's similar about them. And I think, so even though we may be different people because we have different, first of all, here's the thing. Everybody has a different journey than you. You are not a part of their journey. Everybody's journey has made them who they are. But what this movie is talking about, and I love this about nature versus nurture kind of movies, is these stories really work when they also tell us that at the end of the day, Alex and Chad are the same. And it's not just because they're brothers. It's because they're people. So nobody has your life story. Nobody knows your experiences that have led you to interpret and exist in the reality tunnel that is your world. Right? But that doesn't mean, nor is it an excuse to not understand that, break away from that, learn from other people, and realize that we are all still the same. Different things may have happened to me than Brooks. Different things may have happened to John than Jelani and all around. But we all know pain. We all know joy. We all know suffering. We all know elation. We all know being really fucked up and throwing up in the back of a fucking club and embarrassing yourself. And we know that time where you really showed somebody that you were everything you said you were and everything they thought you were, right? So we all go through that experience. We have different experiences, but they're also the same. And that's what a movie like this is talking to me about. All right, time to rate the film. You out there, double impact. Let's make it seem really more important than it is. All right. You're right, though. That is a double impact. Maybe that's actually the meaning of the film is because they had this habit they were getting into of when they would show Jean-Claude hit somebody or kick somebody, they would like put in a second shot of it happening, like 2 or 3. And so he called that double impact, and that's where the name came from.
That's right.
Because originally it was just going to be called the Corsican Brothers, which nobody would have watched this movie.
Nobody watched that movie.
All right, time to rate it out of 5 you digs. You out there in the chat, what do you give Double Impact? For me, personally, I'm going to go 3.69. It's a really great, fun movie that I can watch anytime I want now to. I don't own this physically. I rented it actually on Amazon. It was available somewhere to watch with commercials, but I went ahead and paid the $4 to watch it without the commercials, and I've watched it a couple times, and I'm glad I did, man. This is one I want to get the MVD, I think, did a really nice recent Blu-ray edition. I want to get a hold of that. I really like it. It's a decent movie. It's solid. I'll rewatch it. It's something I will revisit, and it's got sexy ass Jean-Claude Van Damme. And as bad of an actor as Danielle is in this film, she does got some nice tits, man. So what about you, Jelani? Out of 5 you digs, what do you rate it?
I agree, actually. I'm going to give it 3.69 as well. I mean, she does. She got great tams, man. They're not bad. They're bolt-ons, but they're nice. And Jean-Claude Van Damme's ass at the very beginning, that is questionable. I don't have that issue, but he's very toned. I love the pants
I've ever seen a motherfucker wear, man.
Those are like
Gambit should be wearing those pants. I think if Gambit gave me Jean-Claude Van Damme energy, I would probably be more of a fan of Gambit.
Dude, you gotta have balls to wear those. Literally. But
I'm sure.
I can see Jean-Claude like a tight pink shirt.
Yeah, those pink shorts. Come on, man.
Them pink shorts. He was getting it for those. I was like, what the crap?
Yeah.
And they're laying it on thick. Speaking of thick, right? They're laying it on. He's like, because of my big legs and my strong muscles, I can do this. It's like,
right. Like, here's the splits.
I'm just like, are you trying to get me horny 5 minutes into this fucking movie right now?
Then he's rocking it back and forth.
I'll give a crap. He was stretching out Julie Strain, and I was like, all right, yeah, I get it.
You would too if you were there.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't wrong. You ain't wrong for that at all. I get some Julie Strain too. She can also get it.
Oh my god, thank you. That's why
get it. All the ladies in this movie.
There's so many people in this movie that can get it, dude. It's like the only unattractive person is like Frank and the villains,
right?
like the main
Frank
villains.
looks like Sean Connery. Okay, come on.
Sure.
Really?
But yeah, I vote the same. 3.69. It's a good movie. It's not great, but it's entertaining, and I'll watch it again.
Hell yeah! Okay. What about you, Castle? What are you thinking?
Oh, come on! I'm not going to give it a 5 because I know it's not perfect, even though it's my favorite. I will give it a 4.69. Only because the movie. I mean, I love the movie. Van Damme is my favorite, but again, Corey Everson, she didn't do any other movies other than this one. She did a lot of TV show work. I think she did like Hercules and something else, but she was the reason why. I'll give it the extra 1 point for her, so 4.69.
All right, fair enough, man. I like that. What about you, Brooks? Where are you sitting?
I give this one a 3.5. I'd say it was a pretty average movie, but Jean-Claude and Bolo, I think, give it that extra little oomph that like kind of rises it out of mediocrity. So like, yeah, it is a fun movie. Like I don't regret a second of watching it. And it's Jean-Claude, it's Bolo. It's 2 Jean-Claudes, the double threat. So yeah, it's a 3.5. Not quite good enough for a 4, but still better than your average bland.
And the titties are not going to make it a 3.69.
I was gonna say, come on, man.
I'm not as invested in.
Yeah,
I can appreciate.
Bruce is like, I'm not as invested in Jean-Claude Van Damme's ass or this chick's titties as much as y'all are, but
she's wearing triangle draws and like bolt-ons. It was weird. It was a weird look, but she still can get it.
A 3.69 from me and Jelani, a 4.69 from John, and a 3.5 from Brooks for a PCP average of 3.9. 69 dudes. Nice.
Yeah.
The only thing that would make this movie a little bit better would have been an actual 69 between those two. That would have been pretty fucking
Jean-Claude. You mean Jean-Claude, the two Jean-Claudes hook up?
Yeah, they're just 69 in each other. But somehow they're both just eating each other's ass out. Now, hold on. Actually, now that was too hot. All right, we're moving on. Next week here on, look at you, Delaney. I love it. Mission accomplished, Spillio. I told you, man, we were going to do it. Next week, we're continuing Van Damme December with the movie that Jelani's been trying to get through and during so many polls. And I said, don't worry, man. We got you. It's time for Jelani's Van Damme pick. We're talking next week about Time Cop, y'all.
I love Time Cop.
Another movie where Van Damme plays multiple versions of himself. Yes. So, yeah, Time Cop will be next week, y'all. That's going to be super freaking fun. So
I love this movie.
Hell yeah. Go ahead and watch it right now. I have it on VHS, so I may just watch it on VHS. I don't know.
That's an awesome movie.
Yeah, it is. I'm very, very excited to be there. It might be the biggest PCP panel we've ever had. Jelani, thank you so much for being here. Final thoughts.
Bruh, I'm so glad we're getting Time Cop. I'm just elated. That's just the way it should be. This movie, it was fine. It's serviceable. And I'm glad I got to watch it. And it's Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I miss Cyborg. So, hopefully we'll get some of the things going, man, with this lovely, lovely film. But like I usually talk about all the time, Brooks and I do this show. It's called Go Figure Reviews. We review toys. Like Robbie does comics, we do toys. We do show and tells. We had a show and tell Thanksgiving. This last time, this is our second annual, actually. So 2 years doing this. Super excited. We had a lovely panel. The Spillio there was one of our panelists. Robbie wasn't. And we talked about toys and stuff, and it was good times. And also we shared stuff we're thankful for and what we're happy about. And
are you not thankful for me and our friendship? And what the fuck, dude? You keep throwing this out there that I wasn't on your stream. I here's the thing. A lot of people lately have been saying Rockin' Robbie might be a bully and all this kind of shit, right? But I'm not. I love you, and I told you I wasn't going to be able to make it.
I didn't say you're a bully. I was just saying you're a flaker.
Fuck
it's okay. You can flake all you want.
Always busy. Never has time for anybody.
Just, hey, I got to do a Rockin' Robbie live. Or, hey, I got to do stuff, man. Or it's Tuesday. I got to be somewhere. So it's all good. No, man. It's all right. We boys and all, but, it hurts right here in my heart. Anyway.
Motherfucker.
Either way, I got another video that I'm doing with Huggy's Toy Shop. It is the Nemesis Immortal, which I would call the Nemesis.
Hey, I'm not on that video either, Jelani. No, how about that? You want to point that out?
I'm not on that one at all. Nope. We got the thank you, Fable, on the chat. I understand. See? Yeah. It's not just me. I'm not alone. Not alone. Yeah, but Huggy's Toy Shop and I reviewed the Nemesis Enforcer figure, which is the Nemesis Immortal, because they lost the rights to the name. That's the villain that was in G.I. Joe, the movie, that Sergeant Slaughter kicks the shit out of. So it's a good figure. I like it. He can't stand for shit. But we're gonna talk about it in that video too. So check us out. Go Figure Reviews. Thanks, guys.
Go check it out. I'm sure I've been in more than fucking 6 of their videos.
You've been in some of those videos.
All right, I'm just gonna say.
You were in our 100 subscribers. You were in our 100 subscribers video too.
All right.
You were there. You've been there, and you've been in all.
I told you I was going to do the Christmas stream. Okay.
You helped me with the live stream when nobody else showed up. So thank you. I appreciate it.
We're just teasing, man. I love you, man. Super
I
love.
love you too.
Speaking of love, I got nothing but love for John Philosophers. Boyfriend, what you got coming up, man? Tell us, man. Thank you so much for being here, man. Final thoughts.
Well, and you know what? I love you too. I love you all. I was honored when Jelani asked me to come on for the Thanksgiving. That was awesome. I love you, brother. Thank you. And also, Robbie, when you messaged me saying, "Hey, Double Impact is open. You want to go?" Dude, that was awesome. So thank you for actually thinking of me, So because he's my favorite. So thank you. Am I on any of the others this week or no?
I don't know. We'll hold on a second. Let me look.
Jay,
we'll talk privately.
You say that, but did you ask me to come on Saturday night? No. You know what? You hurt Castle's feelings. You did.
You know what? I wasn't on the show either.
Yeah. Jay.
But you probably had stuff to do, man.
What the hell?
I'll go ahead and make this announcement.
No,
this is our first official PCP announcement for Movie Night Action Fest 2025. We're going to go ahead and let you know, because I told these fine gentlemen earlier what I was planning on doing. And Action Fest 2025 is going to be all Van Damme movies. So that will be 3 years in a row that we dedicate a month to Van Damme. So last year was November, this year, December, next year, it will be July. So hell yeah. And next Christmas season, we're back to Christmas movies. I don't know. Are they going to be gnarly horror movies, or are they going to be traditional Christmas movies? I have no idea. But Van Damme next July, every Monday in July, we're doing Van Damme. It's going to be super fun.
So let me know.
Van Damme summer.
Van Damme summer.
Let me know if I'm on any of the rest of the week. If you need somebody, fuck yeah, man. I'm there.
I know, man. We'll talk about it, man. You put me on the spot live right now,
I'll
man.
put you on the spot.
You and Jelani give me a hard time. Speaking of give me a hard time, Brooks, why don't you tell us your final thoughts? And thank you so much for being here. And being you and Jelani in particular. John, I love you too. But Jelani and Brooks, I don't think I say this enough. Y'all are here every week with me on PCP Movie Night. And the audience counts on that. I count on it. Y'all count on it. And we may not always pick the best movies sometimes, but we always have fun doing this, right? And I really appreciate
it. Man. That's how this works.
I really do.
You. We appreciate you too, man. Thanks for
letting us do this. I'm going to step in real quick, and I'm going to back up Robbie. And he didn't pay me to say this, okay? Mm-hmm. I've known Robbie now for a couple years, and we got together a couple times. And I have to tell you, Jelani and Brooks, he talks about you guys all the time.
Oh.
All the time, and that he loves you guys.
Oh.
And I'm telling you.
You're not supposed to tell people how vulnerable I am and how much I love them.
We were drunk. We had vodka. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Robbie. No, but I'm serious. He loves you guys.
Oh, y'all! They already know how drunk we get in Orlando, bro. Just pay attention to Instagram. You'll find out how drunk we get in Orlando, man.
Now, I just want to say he is true. Brooks, Jelani, he loves you guys, and he always looks forward to hanging out, virtual or in person. So, Robbie, send me the money at my address, okay?
All right, just send that invoice so I can make it official with the taxes.
Don't cape him.
All right, Brooks, final thoughts. Thank you so much for being here. I fucking hate you. I detest you. You suck.
I just have one question. Which do you think is a better movie? This or Gemini Man?
Jesus Christ.
This one. Do you remember I was really excited for Gemini Man, dude. I was like, Ang Lee still has it in him, y'all. And then I was like, that was the moment. That was I think the first time I ever looked at Jelani and said, "You were right, Jelani."
The man's a fucking hat. He's always gonna
so double impacts all around then.
Yep. Yeah. Double impact all day. All day, every day.
All right. Join us next week for Time Cop as we continue Van Damme December. It's going to be a super fun show. I'm very excited for it and very excited. We still got 2 more shows in the PCP Movie Night season. And check out Rockin' Robbie live on Sunday night, so you can get your full reveal of what we're covering for PCP Movie Night in January and February. And these fellas have already seen the list. Y'all haven't? Y'all just wait. That list is dope. It's literally going to be the best PCP year ever because it's the year of PCP Extreme. Next year, we celebrate our 10th anniversary. So it's PCP X all year long. So get ready for it. It starts in January. But next week, Time Cop. That's going to be super freaking fun. It's going to be great. And for my final thoughts, I'll just say...
That ass.
We'll catch you next time.